Hello, welcome to the 8th episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSPM2. Joining me today is Eric, a Super Mario Maker 2 level maker and streamer.
What's up?
So, today we're going to be doing the 8th episode of EmanCast finally. I hope you all enjoy it, and I'm excited to have him on today. So, Eric, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful.
That's good. I'm doing good as well, so yeah. Alright, so, the first question that I had for you, Eric, was, what made you motivated to start playing Super Mario Maker 2? Like, what was your primary motivation from it? Like, to just continue to play it, and, yeah.
This is kind of a tricky question, but in reality, it was, I think, early 2021. We were just coming off that horrible year of 2020 with the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
And before that, I think I was playing a bit of Splatoon 2, so I kind of got bored, and, I had streamed a bit of Mario Maker 2 before.
Yeah.
In, the summer of 2019, I believe. So I was kind of, seeing, if I could do that again and try to grow an audience. And, it kind of worked. People kind of showed up to my streams, and it was really fun. And then I guess I really started playing the game from then on and streamed it, I'd say, for about a year and a half. Don't really play the game anymore, but I think what got me to start playing it was the whole community itself. Really liked seeing that community grow, and then I made a lot of great friends through that. And here we are now.
Yeah, especially coming off the pandemic, it's I 100% agree. Like, you when you're, quarantined, you, see all these people, and you're like, oh, I want to give that a shot, so, yeah. So the second question that I had for you was, what is the easiest, in your opinion, what is the easiest and hardest part about Super Mario Maker 2?
Oh, that's another tricky question. See, the levels, of course, depending on the type of level you could be playing, that could easily be the hardest thing. But for me, the hardest thing about the game, I think, was, playing versus and, getting above 6100 for me. Or, getting past 61 to, 62. I could definitely do Super Expert if I tried. People, of course, just skip a lot of levels doing that to make it, simple. But versus, in my opinion, that was, the most difficult thing. One, mentally. Because I don't know if there's anyone watching this who remembers my streams back then.
Oh, yeah.
Holy mother of God. I used to scream my head off playing that. Because I just could not deal with the people who would troll. The levels are really bad sometimes. But, honestly, I think verse is the hardest part of the game. But you could very well make the argument saying Super Expert is the hardest part of Mario Maker 2. But again, that is just my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. Versus, especially, I've been stuck in S Plus for 3 years, and I don't ever see myself leaving the 5,000 area. It's something that it feels luck based, and it's just, and honestly, it's just frustrating for a lot of people. And yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the next question I had for you was, what are some of your thoughts about the communities that are in the game, in your opinion? Some communities such as, Team Shell, Team Precision, Team Jamp, all those fun communities and all that. What are your thoughts about some of them? You don't have to list all of them, but just a couple if you'd like.
I really, when I first started playing, I wasn't really into shell levels, but as I started playing more and more, a YouTuber and streamer, Dr. Jin, got me into playing shell levels. He told me that, I would struggle with it at first, but, I'd get the hang of it and be pretty fun. And I really started playing those, I'd say maybe in June 2021, May 2021, so it was somewhere around there. But I started getting into the community and playing levels, and I even joined the Team Shell Discord for a good while. And I really like Team Shell. The moderators in the community of Team Shell are terrible. I'll just flat out say that. I don't like them, and a lot of people don't either. But Team Shell as a whole, the community is great. I really like the people there. They strive to make levels really difficult and as cool as they can be. I like Salt makes some of the coolest levels I've ever seen. good friend of mine, Beep21, has made some really dope shell levels in Team Shell. And yeah, I really like Team Shell. Another great community in the Mario Maker community, I would have to say, is definitely... Honestly, I'm going to get flamed for this, but I kind of like Leto Squad. I respect the people for that, just because I know how difficult Pixel Precision is. I played that for a good few months, I remember. I even tried to join, but it is really difficult, because, I mean, their whole thing about don't pause, no pausing, frame perfect jumps.
Right.
I mean, I could really see the difficulty in that just watching fellow streamer Elegy. And he would make them look so easy because he figures out all this like tech in the game, and it's kind of incredible. And I kind of just someone like wouldn't really like that, I get, because you could say like as a waste of time, but in reality, I mean, all video games you could say are a waste of time. So
True.
It's no different than playing like say a really hard juggle level.
Right.
It's still a grind, and it still takes time, and I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the next question I had for you was, so Mario Maker 2 at the end of the day is still like a game that Nintendo loves when you play their games casually. So with that being said, in a casual sense, how do you feel about Mario Maker 2 in general?
See, that's where I kind of come into play, because when I first, started playing, I was the casual level maker. Because my dad got me the game when it came out, like he originally did with Mario Maker, the original. I would try to make levels that, I found difficult. Like, I would even add devs in them, dev blocks.
Right.
Kaizo blocks, because again, I mean, from a casual's point of view, they don't really see that, as annoying or a bad thing. They just see that, as trying to make a level difficult and such. Mm-hmm. And I mean, from a casual's point of view, I think it's one of the best games ever made, because you can build your own game. You can build your own levels. And I mean, for someone like my dad, too, who's very much a casual as well, that's such a cool feeling for someone who's played the games ever since the arcade Mario Bros.
Right.
He can now make his own levels, make them the way he wants. And I mean, from a casual's point of view, like I said, I think it's one of the best games ever made, in a sense.
Yeah. I agree as well. Like, it's something that you can just, like, start up and just... Like, when you first start, you don't know how to, like, make levels, but as you grow, you'll, like, figure it out. So, yeah, I 100% agree. Now, now on the opposite end of the spectrum, in a competitive sense, like, such things like, the leaderboards, versus, and all that fun stuff, how do you feel about Mario Maker 2 with the competitive side of the game?
Now that, again, is another great question. The competitive side of the game really, I feel like, comes from the Metal Grinder community, which, I mean, there are a ton of people who, for an early part of the game, not so much now, grinded a lot. Like, one of the first Metal Grinders I ever met, and I did, was Mr. Neagle Jeagle. Mm-hmm. Dude has been working towards 10 golds for the longest time.
Oh, yeah.
He did never achieve it, but, I mean, he hit 10 medals, and for a lot of people, I feel like that's one of the most impressive accomplishments in the game. I mean, just put so much work towards it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think with the game, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can make the whole leaderboard system competitive. Like Super Expert, I mean, even though people have cheated to get on the leaderboard, I mean, the top of it is really impressive. I mean, I think player Celeste, with 20,000 clears it was on Super Expert for the longest time, got overtaken recently, which I find interesting, because, I mean, you think someone wouldn't necessarily put the work in for something like Super Expert because it is so miserable to play.
Right.
But, I mean, people do it, and, I mean, same thing with Versus. People have cheated, of course, to, get on that leaderboard and, get to number one. But for the player like Ikura, which is, I feel like, one of the only legit 8Ks from Japan, and the first player to ever hit 8K, I remember that, and that was crazy. I mean... It's disappointing, to know that they cheated at first, technically, to get to 8K, but then that was weird, is originally they did cheat at the end, because they got to, 7,900, but then they cheated the rest of the way, but then, they went back down to 7,900,
and tried again.
Did it legitimately.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that was really sick, because, they kind of proved everyone wrong, because everyone was really, of course, disappointed at first, because they did it, like, say, someone else, but I mean, they still did it legitimately. And to
Right.
me, they're the true 1-1 8K in this game.
Exactly.
From Asia, that is. That I can at least confirm, because they seem like a very genuine person. I mean, they even admitted to them cheating, and then, they did it legitimately.
Right.
So, the versus community, I have a little less respect for than, say, someone like the super expert community. But both communities, I feel like they're pretty competitive in that sense, as they both really try to, strive for the best. At least the players who, try to do it legitimately.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, I knew Ikura was the first person to hit 8K. It was, I'm with you. It was crazy. But I had no idea that they had cheated their way. But that's really respectful that they dropped all the way down and just showed that they can get it legitimately. So that's definitely a great thing. Now, now that at the time of recording this video, we have approached 4 years of Mario Maker 2, which is just crazy to think how fast time flies. But how do you feel 4 years later? I mean, you said you started really getting into the game in 2021, but today in 2023, how do you feel about the current state of Super Mario Maker 2?
Now, if you would have asked me this question when I was really playing the game, and I first did start that podcast with a few buddies of mine back in October 2021 was it? I would have said the state of the game was becoming pretty dead, and it is sad to say, but you can't really say the community is dead in a way, because I mean there are still so many people putting out levels there. It's still probably one of the most purchased Switch games there is. And I mean, think about how many levels. I can't remember when this was, but I saw a tweet of someone pointing out how many levels there were in the game uploaded at one point, and it was like 26 million levels, which
I know.
I mean, that is a lot.
Yeah, that blows. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you can say it's fine.
That blows Mario Maker 1 out of the water. And when Mario Maker 1 first came out, I was like, wow, that is so many levels. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, and it is crazy to think 26 million levels, because, I mean, you got to remember that there are a lot of people who bought the game and didn't even make levels or didn't upload any.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it is impressive to say that a game could have that many unique levels in it. And people, will still complain about the game, like, oh, there aren't enough levels or this or that. But, I mean, in reality, I mean, you can still play versus, even if the community is still... it's been floating around dead, but I mean, it still exists. I mean, the endless modes aren't gonna ever go away.
Right.
You can keep doing those. And again, I mean, the level building mechanic is what makes the game Mario Maker. It's in the name, mm-hmm. And I mean, as a fellow Shell player, among the community when I used to play, that's one of the reasons why I kept playing, was to make Shell levels, because I enjoyed that so much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, alright, and the next question that I have for you is, so as we mentioned, you're a Super Mario Maker 2 streamer, you don't really stream Mario Maker 2 much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, when you did stream Mario Maker 2, how was it making content for the game, whether that was streaming or making just videos and all that fun stuff for it?
Oh, I mean, streaming it is what made me kept playing the game. I mean, the community is great. All the nice people I've met through the game is the very reason I kept playing. Because, I mean, you have all these great creators and, streamers and such who still, if I were to stream right now, would probably show up and, say what's up and maybe submit a level or that or two. And, I mean, from a streamer's point of view, that's what the game was to me. It was a way for me to, broadcast myself, my personality to others.
Right.
And, I loved seeing the personalities of others. And that's what kept me, streaming for a good while, was it. Of course, school was kind of got in the way of me streaming and such.
Right.
But honestly, the community and, streaming in general is what brought it together for me. And, if I'm going to stream this summer, it's going to be for the community,
right.
Not necessarily the game.
Yeah, that's 100% fair. And I honestly, I'm sure, and you're definitely not alone, because there are, like, it's definitely true that I've seen a lot more people play the game to, like, you know, because of the great community, and that's awesome that the game can have that. Now, we've talked about earlier, and there is, wow, I can't speak. So medals in the game has always been like one of the more challenging parts of the game, especially if you want to get multiple. In your opinion, would you say that getting medals is a challenge in Super Mario Maker 2?
I mean, it depends on whether or not you're good at a game, especially, you know, Mario Maker, because, I mean, medals and that. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm good at the game. I just, you know, because I played it so much. I mean, again, the more you play something, the better you're going to get at it. That's just how things work.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, again, same thing with the experts and endlesses and stuff. I mean, all you have to do is just keep playing. And I mean, if you're on my skill level S, you just kind of skip and skip and skip. So, I mean, getting multiple medals, I don't think is much of a challenge. I just think it's, you know, getting top 100 and then, you know, going for all the medals, which is the real challenge, because you really have to grind everything.
Exactly.
And, I mean, the amount of hours you have to put towards that. I mean, I don't know how many hours Bruh originally put into the game, but, I mean, when he first got all 10 golds, I mean, he must have put in thousands probably within, you know, the first year, easily. And I mean, from a grinding perspective, yeah, it's hard. But from a casual perspective, I mean, as long as you keep playing the game and I mean, you're enjoying it, I think getting multiple medals isn't that much of a challenge. But again, that is just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, the next question that I had for you was, what are your thoughts about Nintendo's treatment of Super Mario Maker 2?
They have not treated the community well.
No, they have
I
not.
mean, not at all. I mean, if you look at the, you know, the making screen when you're going to choose a game mode, it looks like there was supposed to be a game mode next to 3D World.
Yep.
And, I mean, I don't know if that was the game developers getting lazy that quickly and stuff, but think about how many items there are in the Mario series. They could have absolutely put in another 3DS game and tried to do it like that. I mean, I get it would have been difficult, but I mean, it's not like this was a small game. Again,
Exactly.
I mean, this game did very well from a business standpoint, and I mean, I don't know if Nintendo just didn't, you know, because again, I mean, they treated Mario Maker very well until, of course, you know, the discontinuation of uploading levels.
Yeah, 2021, yeah.
But I think Nintendo definitely could have treated the community better. You could have definitely given it another game mode. I mean, if they were trying to keep more people playing the game, which, I mean, I don't think they clearly were,
Right.
It would have added another game mode, because that would have... Think about having that 6th game mode. I mean, 3D World, it was okay. I mean, there was a lot of unique things you could do with it. But with a 6th game mode, they could have definitely added a lot of things. And anyways, yeah, I really don't think Nintendo treated the community very well with the game. Because, I mean, think about any other community. Like, finally, the Mario Brothers series is getting another game.
Yeah.
One actual, you know, new 2D game and not just the new series. I mean,
Yes.
that took how long? That's like, if you don't count new, that's the first 2D Mario since, like, Super Mario World. It's been, like,
Land 2.
25 years? Something like that.
If we're not counting New Super Mario Brothers or Mario Run or Mario Maker, it's been nearly 2 decades. No, over 2 decades, because Mario Land 2 came out in like 94.
Almost 3. That's just terrible.
Oh,
because, I mean, that's their most popular series.
Yeah.
Just,
but
is what it is, though.
Right. Now, I am 100, like, you have no idea, like, how much I share the same sentiment of the 6th game style, saying extra game styles, like, plural, implying that there's going to be another game style. Now, I always say, well, maybe SMB Super Mario Bros. 2 was going to be the last game style, because aspects of it was brought into the final update, and because it rolled out when COVID hit, it was like, oh, okay, so maybe that was meant to be the game style. But at that point, wait it out and just like, because this version 2.0, like, I mean, I'm not saying that was the case. That's just pure speculation, but I feel like Mario Bros. 2 was very possible as the extra game style, because we had Mario Bros. 1, 3, and World. So I feel like having 2 would finish off it pretty good, but that's just speculation. And who knows, maybe there's been theories that Mario Bros. Wonder is going to be the 6th game theme. I would lose my mind if that was the case, but I don't know in that case, but I 100% agree.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that, because, I mean, it does make sense. I mean, it was right around COVID hit when, they posted the 2.0 update.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I don't think Super Mario Bros. 2 would have been very hard to implement into Mario Maker.
No, literally.
I mean, it would have definitely been an extra game style, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, welcome to Nintendo.
True. Yeah. So, in general, speaking of the updates, in your opinion, how do you feel about the updates in general in Mario Maker 2, and just the updates in Mario Maker 2 in general?
See, this is where having my brain hurts, because again, I mean, I kind of got into the game when they finished updating it.
Right.
But I do remember, let's see, the last update I can really remember is when they did that final Ninja, the Link one.
Yep.
Or I forget what it was called. It was like Link's crossbow training or something. It was something on the lines like that.
Yeah.
And,
I know what you're talking about.
And I mean, it was a nice Ninja, that's for sure. I enjoyed that one.
Right.
As I know many others did too. But I feel like the game could have done way more, as I already previously stated. The game could have done a lot more with its updates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, the extra game style, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, if you're going to add a plural, then, I mean, there should at least be more than one.
Biggest pet peeve in the entire game for me. The biggest pet peeve that I have. But, yeah.
Yeah, and it's tough with the updates, because, I mean, again, they did add stuff. It's not like, they, created a game and then posted it, and then, like, they didn't add anything to it, but, I mean, they could have. There's so much more opportunity there, and I think Nintendo they let that opportunity slide and, chose to work on other things instead, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
That's true. I 100% agree with that. Like, the Ninja speedruns, and it's, like, there was this weird, like, because I remember, because, like, when I started making videos on Mario Maker 2 in 2020, like, I then started to actively monitor every little thing in Mario Maker 2. And April 2021 hit. They said, okay, Ninja speedruns are done. After we're done with this one, the Bowser's Castle Last Dash, we're done with Ninjas. But then in November of 2021, they dropped the Link's, I forget the name, Link's Lightweight Long Shots, I don't remember what it was called. And that opened the door. That was like, oh, so we're going to start releasing Ninja speedruns for special events. And that's like, oh, cool. And we haven't gotten one since. So, yeah, I'm with you. Ninja speedruns is the perfect way for them to keep the community alive, but they didn't. And that's unfortunately the sad reality of it.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that, because, I mean, if you're going to say something's the last and then choose to add something else, and then, like, you kind of give your fan base speculation about more in the future, and then, boom, nope, that's it. That's all you get.
Right. And I was like, oh, maybe there will be one, we just gotta wait, but now that it's been a year and a half, I'm really doubtful of another Ninja coming, but who knows. Now, this next question I have for you is entirely, like, your opinion. What is your favorite and least favorite part about Mario Maker 2 in general? From playing the game for maybe 2+ years, what would you say is your favorite and least favorite part about it?
Well, favorite, again, I mean, I've already answered this.
Right.
It's absolutely the Shell community and Kaizo community in the game. That's the reason why I kept playing for so long. And it's the reason why I may even turn it on occasionally, is because I love to play shell levels, try new things, try to make new things. It's always really fun to, create a new setup and say, hey, that looks kind of dope. Of course, then it may have jank and there's that. But I mean, to you, you have fun in the moment. You created something new. And even if someone else has done that before, that's the first time you've seen it. And that's always a great feeling as a shell player such as me. And the worst community undoubtedly has to be the versus community. The community is incredibly toxic. The community is incredibly annoying. The community literally will cheat to get on the leaderboards, which is just kind of embarrassing.
Right.
And I mean, I will call myself toxic when I was in that community. I was screaming all over the place. I was yelling at people. I was getting, way too into it. And I mean, that's not how it's supposed to be played, right? You think of it more as like a casual standpoint to enjoy the game.
Right.
If you're yelling and you're like really disliking something, like I broke, I think, at least 3 Pro controllers during that phase of mine, and it's really bad. If you're not enjoying the thing that you're playing, and you're just like doing that to upset yourself, and it's clear you're clearly not enjoying yourself. You're clearly just making yourself miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when I was playing that, I was beyond miserable. Like nowadays, I can log on to Versus and I can play for fun, see if I can get my Versus rating up. Right. I'm not going to get upset like that because, that I've passed from, barely teenage Eric, when we're all going through that phase of I'm so cool or something like that. And, Versus just really isn't that. It's something made for, I think what they intended was to be more of a casual, fun thing. And what it really turned into for someone like me was just incredibly toxic. And I mean, it may not be that for some people, but I know that really competitive people take it that way. And they will really get upset when something doesn't go their way in the game. And I think as a human being, we already have enough stress as it is. And I mean, that was during the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Like that was just a poor decision. But nowadays, Versus is not that bad. But from a standpoint of when the game was really active, Versus is undoubtedly the worst community and the worst part of the game.
I 100% agree. I'm gonna actually follow up on what you said on the Versus thing. There are 2 words that describe something, in my opinion, that gets a game more competitive than it should be. Point systems. If you put when you have like your Versus rating with points, it no longer becomes it's interpreted as you want to get your points higher and higher and higher. So like. And I 100% agree. Like, when you, like, that's what stressed me out. Like, when I was, because I got S+ during the pandemic, and I kept doing, and I, like, it was hard, because, like, it's like, you win, you get points. Fine. But if you lose points, and you're more likely to lose. So it just becomes insanely frustrating, and I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, it kind of turns into insanity because you kind of just keep repeating and redoing the same things over and over again, and then, yeah, it's not fun.
Right. Now, the final question that I had for you was, if you could give any advice to a new level creator, or any level creator for that matter in Mario Maker 2, what advice would you give to them?
Do not care about likes or boos. Do not care about your Maker points. Make levels for your own sake. Try to have fun with the game, I really cared about likes and Maker points back then. Like, I was the type, again, when I was first playing the game in say 2021, when I was really getting into it, I made streams of where I wanted people to like my stuff. Why? I don't know. Like, you start caring about, same thing with Versus, a point total. It doesn't affect you in the slightest. If someone has more Maker points than you, ooh-hoo. It's not a big deal. If you're a new maker, don't care about the Maker point system. Have fun with your levels. And if people like your levels and they're not doing well, it is what it is. Because, if people are enjoying them, that's what matters most to me. And if you're enjoying making them, that's also important. Because what's the whole point of making? I think it's to, create new things and do something that's never been done in Mario. And I mean, if you can enjoy yourself doing that, perfect. If you can't, and I mean, maybe it's not for you, but I'd keep going at it, and there's so many things you can try in the game. I was never really into puzzles, but hey, maybe you like puzzles, I don't, is what it is.
Right.
But the most important thing to me is just not caring about, say, likes, boos, the Maker point system. Doesn't affect you in the slightest. It's just a number on a virtual screen. It's not that big a deal.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great view on it, and I agree with it. Like, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just a game to play like for fun, and the like consider like the little like maker points and likes and all that just bonuses. Like the main course is having fun with the game and enjoying yourself with it. So I agree 100%. Well, yeah, those were all the questions that I had for you, Eric. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of EmanCast. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah. If you haven't already, please be sure to check out Eric's YouTube channel. He streams Switch games and makes content around them, and you will really enjoy his content, and please do check him out. But yeah, thank you for watching this episode of EmanCast. The next episode is unsure at the moment, but I will keep you all posted when the date draws closer. Take care, guys, and have a good one.